Hey guys, today I'm going to do a comparison of two smartphone thermal cameras, the ThermalMaster P3 here to the right and the FLIR ONE Pro. So let's go ahead and break down the key differences and hopefully this video will help you decide which is the right one. So we'll start with the P3 first, and this is a camera that's just recently been released by ThermalMaster. So it's got a 256 by 192 thermal sensor in there, and also has enhanced upscaled output, so you can activate that within the app. I'll show you how that works later, to 512 by 384. Tends to work a lot better when you're using it up close, less than 35 millikelvin, so it's very sensitive to temperature fluctuations, and can measure from -20 degrees Celsius to 600 degrees Celsius. So if we look at the FLIR ONE Pro, which is quite a classic thermal camera, I think a lot of people know about this one. 160 by 120 resolution, and it has FLIR's patented MSX overlay, so it uses a secondary camera here. It's a normal camera up the top to basically add outlines and additional detail to the outputs on your phone. It's also got a 70 millikelvin net D, so it's less sensitive than the P3, and also has less range of temperatures that you can measure, so -20 to 400 degrees Celsius. So in terms of, I guess, raw imaging power, sensor specifications, the P3 is definitely the winner in this case. If we look at the focus and zoom, you can see with the P3, it's got an 8mm focusable macro lens, and this goes, and also on the app, you can select the digital zoom, so there's a 15 times digital zoom. I don't find that so helpful unless if you use it a little bit, but I tend to try not to use the digital zoom at all. And I find this is great for electronics, close-up work, and because you can get so close to objects with the P3, you can get literally less than a centimeter close. You don't even need to use that digital zoom, and you get really high-resolution images. You can also focus the lens on distant objects, so not sure why ThermalMaster didn't sort of mention this a little bit more, because they market this as a focusable macro lens, but it actually works quite well on objects up to 100 plus meters, and you can produce a relatively clear image. You can detect like animals and people up further than 100 meters, but you're not really going to be able to discern what it is. It's just going to be like a blob moving around on the screen. If we have a look at the FLIR ONE Pro, you can see you've got fixed focus, which is common with a lot of thermal cameras out there. They just don't offer you a way to focus that lens. It's more expensive. They've got to add on a secondary IR permeable lens on there, and the system is just a little bit more fidgety. So no zoom as well on the application, no digital zoom. So this is best for general use, but in terms of fine detail, getting up real close to objects or further away objects, it's not going to be ideal. The FLIR ONE Pro is optimized for kind of medium range, maybe short to medium range distances. So overall, the P3, in my opinion, wins because it just has that versatility with the macro lens and ability to focus on further away objects as well. So it gives you a huge advantage for inspections, if you're doing HVAC inspections, if you're working with electronics, or if you're looking to scout ahead, sort of spot animals and people ahead of you for 100 plus meters. So the third thing I want to talk about is power and design. So the ThermalMaster P3 is plug and play, so it's powered directly by your phone, by this USB-C port here. And because I've got a pretty chunky case on my phone, I actually add on this extender, and it also measures how much power is being consumed by the device. It's about 0.5 watts, which is very little. You're going to get 5 or 6 hours use on this thing. But there's no internal battery to worry about. But if you're looking at the FLIR ONE Pro, this thing does have an internal built-in battery. You've got to charge it through this port at the bottom. It takes about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour to charge. And you can't use it unless this thing has some sort of charge in it. The built-in battery will last about an hour without charging. So if you do need to measure temperatures and maybe using it throughout the day, that can be a little annoying. You have to keep it charged. But at the same time, it's not going to be draining your phone battery. I thought I'd do a little comparison on the app, and I've got the FLIR ONE Pro app to the left and the camera, and I've also got on the right the ThermalMaster P3. Another thing I forgot to mention as well is the frame rate is a lot faster on the P3. So you've got 25 hertz versus 8.7 hertz on the FLIR ONE Pro. And I think that's because there is some type of limitation on US exports. So yeah, I don't even know if it is capable of the 25 hertz, but yeah, it's definitely a lot smoother. As you can see, you can already tell the difference between the resolution as well. So let's go through the FLIR ONE Pro application first. So over here, you can select, so basically just have the IR mode on, or you could select MSX. So MSX then creates a kind of outline, if you see, just on the edges of objects, and uses that secondary camera there. So it kind of makes it a little easier to spot what you're actually looking at. But at the same time, I think it's something they've added on just to compensate for the lower resolution. And that's just with the secondary camera on. So if we go into color, you can change also a few different of these color palettes in here. I think there's about 9 palettes. I tend to just use the normal iron red one. There is, where is it? This one here, the black and white one, which I find to be also pretty good for spotting things. And yeah, you can see the battery's actually getting low on this device already. I need to charge it up. Let's have a look. What do you have here? Camera alignment. Okay, well, I won't go into that, but basically, yeah, that aligns the MSX overlay. So yeah, I just set that a little bit better, depending on whether the object you're looking at is further ahead. And there's also a quality mode, which will reduce, I don't know, it's for some reason, just makes everything a bit pixelated. So I tend to use the high quality mode. Okay, there's also a few ways to measure like hot spots, cold spots, or some custom spots here on the screen as well. As you can see, you kind of move around some custom spots, and the blue and the red are just the hottest and the lowest temperature readings there on the screen. It seems to be a little bit off at the moment. I think I have the calibration set incorrectly, but I'll show you how to change that in a moment. That is a little bar that just shows the highest and the coldest temperature there on the screen. That there calibrates the camera. Okay, so that's pretty much it. You can also take videos. So if you go here, you can take a photo, you can take videos, record. Now if we go back into the app, this is what I wanted to show you before in the settings. You can set basically temperature range. So if you're looking at measuring lower temperature objects or high temperature objects, you need to set this here to get a more accurate reading. Emissivity as well. So yeah, I probably should set it to matte. So there's only 4 settings in here. So matte, semi-matte, semi-glossy, and glossy. And yeah, I wish FLIR had included an option to just put in some custom emissivity values, as well as ambient temperature and distance values as well, because those 2 things also influence the temperature readings. So yeah, let's go back and let's see if it's now measuring a bit better. Should measure at 30 something. Okay, 31.2 degrees. Okay, it's a little cold, but not a big deal. It's about plus or minus 5 degrees Celsius accuracy. Now, I think that's pretty much about it with the FLIR ONE Pro app. Let's have a look at the ThermalMaster P3. And basically you can see here, if I just rotate this wheel on the camera, you can really, kind of dial in and get it quite sharp. Now this button here on the top is the X3 button. That's the upscaling sort of feature there, so it makes everything sharper. Now this is an older phone, so unfortunately it doesn't have very good image processing capabilities. It just lags and stuff when I use it. But if you've got a better kind of more recent phone, it's going to be able to process that image nicer. There's also this shutter reset button on the top there to calibrate the camera. So sometimes you'll notice the colors on either of these cameras can be a little bit out of whack depending on what you're looking at, if you're swapping scenes very often. So you need to recalibrate that camera from every now and then. So you've got this kind of zoom feature here. So you've got a bit of a digital zoom to zoom in and out of the scene. And it's something that you don't get on the FLIR ONE Pro app. In terms of measuring different temperatures, you can put in custom measurements. So here you've got like 3 points. You can put in lines, so you can measure along lines. You can measure rectangles or squares. You can measure sort of circles. So you just sort of outline and customize where you want them and move them around. Okay, now I'm just gonna, I think I've just deleted them all. That's all right. Now by clicking this temp button here, it now does the same thing as the FLIR, so it measures the highest and lowest temperature here on the screen. Okay, you can kind of delete them all, just deactivate them again. And there's also these other color palettes. You've got white hot, black hot, iron red, red hot, jungle, Aurora, all these other bits, medical, but I tend to use only the first three. So really iron reds. One of my favorites is picture-in-picture mode as well, so you can have like a little camera display. Switch it over to this front-facing camera, and you can see you can sort of record a video with this camera, or you can just use that to have a more of a visual representation of what you're actually looking at. So yeah, there's no MSX overlay, but that doesn't bother me too much. There's also options here to change the brightness. Let's have a look to really optimize that image. I find this helps slightly. Yeah, if you really want to bring out the highlights and stuff like that, as you can see, it if you pop the contrast up, it makes them appear more visible. If you're spotting something from a distance, especially, don't use the scale thing as much. You can mirror the image. You can also rotate the image around. Oops, here we go. And of course, you can take videos and take a photo as well. But one of the really cool things I like is if you go back, you can go into the settings, and if you go into temperature settings, I think it is. Oops. Yeah. So basically here, you can activate a few other things. So if it's like a safety setting, so if you're looking at maybe an object that's 700 degrees Celsius, it will automatically warn you and tell you to turn the camera off, basically, so that it doesn't damage the camera. So you shouldn't be looking at really high temperature objects with these cameras. They can damage them. You can select temperature unit. You can select a temperature alarm to notify you when temperatures on the screen or within a certain measurement area reach a set temperature. Variable correction. So this is the thing I wanted to show you. So here you can add like custom modes. So this is one that I saved before. So what did I put on? Emissivity of 1, 0.25 meters and 25 degrees Celsius. So that's what I mean. You can really dial in with that emissivity level. And there are some examples of different objects and their corresponding emissivity values. And because I'm measuring flashlight temperatures, when they get hot, the coating of the flashlight really matters, whether it's using micro arc oxidation, glossy, matte black. They all have slightly different emissivity values, and that influences the temperature reading, the accuracy of the temperature reading. So it's very good that ThermalMaster have included those settings in there to get a more accurate reading. So yeah, that's about it. So yeah, if we look at both the applications and their integration, I really think that the P3 offers much better accuracy or potential to get better accurate readings. You've got zoomability as well, digital zoom. The MSX overlay, I find that really does help to identify stuff up close. From a distance, it doesn't work so well, but it does definitely help to compensate for the lower resolution. So if you need that MSX overlay for up close tasks, this might be a good option. Otherwise, yeah, I do think that the P3 app just offers overall a lot more other features. So finally, one of the most important things that people will look at or consider is price. Now, the P3 is going to set you back far less than the FLIR ONE Pro. It's significantly cheaper. And basically, I think it's an absolute bargain because you get this focusable lens, you get better sensor specifications, far better sensor specifications. The app is fantastic. You still get a warranty with this thing as well. So yeah, I think FLIR, obviously being a much more well-known brand, is going to be charging a premium. But yeah, all things, if we just compare them side by side, for me, in terms of value, the P3 wins. So yeah, if you're working with electronics, need really close-up precision, I think the ThermalMaster P3 is a clear winner. Keep in mind, it does also focus on longer range targets and objects. But if you want simple reporting, visual overlays for maybe close up to mid-range inspections, maybe house inspections, I think the FLIR ONE Pro still holds up, but it does lag behind the P3, like I said before, in terms of versatility. It's got that fixed focused, lower resolution, lower millikelvin, which means that the image is going to come out more grainy, and it's not going to be able to differentiate between very small temperature fluctuations. So I find that makes a big difference during the daytime, where a lot of the buildings are hot, a lot of objects start to approximate each other in temperature. The lower millikelvin value just produces a better contrast image with less noise. But yeah, let me know which one you'd pick, and pop that down in the comments. If you have questions, let me know as well, and I'll get back to you. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a like and share it with someone who might be interested. Helps me to get my channel out to more people. And if you want to see more thermal camera and tech reviews, make sure you subscribe. All right, so I've got the FLIR ONE Pro to the left and the ThermalMaster P3 to the right here. And you can see the clarity is just pretty incredible. I'm playing around that focus knob on the right as well. So you just see my desk. What is that? Oh, that's a what is this thing? Oh yeah, that's just a power supply there. I'll turn this on, and this is a little circuit board I have here on the table, and can we get close up to this tiny circuit board? Now that's the closest that I can get up to with the FLIR ONE Pro before it starts to get a little bit blurry, but it does a decent job, as you can see. Like maybe up to there. But let's have a look at the P3, and basically with the P3 you can get very close. Like I'll just put this all the way to the sharpest focus, and you can even keep going closer like this. Look at that. I mean, it's as close as really as close as you can get. You can see all the individual components. Even on that larger component there, you can see the center of it is hotter. It's like little resistors and chips here. Look at that. You can even read the writing on that chip. So the level of detail on this thing is incredible. If you need to work small, let's go back again to the FLIR ONE Pro. Okay. And you can see also it's a little laggy at 8.7 Hertz. You can still identify larger components, but the smaller ones, they'll just become quite blurry. Maybe about this distance they look a bit better. But yeah, look at that. It's like night and day. There's no comparison really. Just being able to use that focus knob, and we'll zoom back out again. Not zoom back, but focus back out. On the desk, I've got a flashlight there. I wonder if you can see the little LEDs. Nope. It's glass on the front, so it's not able to transmit through. You can even identify other objects there on the desk, whereas it becomes very difficult with the FLIR ONE Pro to discern what's happening. Just usually high millikelvin value of the FLIR ONE Pro. Even on these power boards, let me just focus that a bit better. You can see exactly which bits are hotter. The ground as well at the back. And that's what I meant when I was talking about with the lower millikelvin value, it's able to detect subtle changes in temperature, whereas everything seems to like kind of be warmer in the FLIR image and less contrast. Let's have a look over here. There's my fridge, and yeah, you can see the heat radiating from the fridge. A bit closer. The coils, fridge coils. It's me in the mirror. And my switchboard. Get really close to it and focus in. Get it quite sharp if I want. but alright, so here is a long distance shot, and you can see much better accuracy here, sharpness due to the high resolution, lower millikelvin of the P3, and that's pretty much focused as well as I can. That's as sharp as it gets. I know someone asked me in a previous video, you know, did you focus it properly? That's definitely the sharpest that I can get. You can spot individual people walking around even from this distance, and yeah, detection wise kind of appears blobs moving around, but you'll be able to detect even further than this. Pretty amazing for something that just fits in your pocket. Yeah, that focusing ring just makes it so versatile.